In the previous video, we saw some of these commonly used tags, and I showed you a demo of how to use these tags. So we can see here how these tags are used and how the output looks. In this video, we're going to look at a couple of other tags that are also frequently used, but are a little more complicated than these other tags that we've looked at so far. So we're going to look at these two, table and image. So first thing is, let's go to W3 Schools. So basically you can type W3 Schools on Google and you will get this URL. So here I'm going to search for table. And you get this section where they show you a demo of how to use this tag. So you can see here, this is the table tag, and they've given some attribute here. And within that, there are these three sections. Now there's a button here called Try It Yourself. So let me click on that. And when I click on it, on the left side, you see the code that we saw on that page. And on the right side, you get to see the output for what this code would look like on the browser. So I'm just showing you this so that you understand how you can look up the syntax for different tags in HTML. And one thing that you need to remember is that when you're a programmer, you don't have to remember everything. You don't have to memorize code syntax and everything. Okay. So when you're applying a certain algorithm or certain concept, you don't have to have the structure of these syntax at the tips of your fingers. You can always look this up. You can reference this and then use it. So there's no shame in having to look up the syntax for code. Eventually you'll realize that when you know several languages, syntax is not that important as much as the logic and your approach is. So syntax you should be fine with looking up once in a while. I just wanted to mention that. It's useful when you're getting into programming. So I'm going to add a table here. So what I've done so far is I've added the table tag, and within it I've added a table head tag, and I'm supposed to close this. So this is the table heading wrapped within this, and then there's these different headings for different columns, and there's table body, which I also need to close. And within that there's this first row, and within that there are 3 cells, one under each heading. I'm going to multiply this. I'm going to copy and paste this. So I'm going to have 3 rows. Okay, so now the table is ready. I also need to close the table tag itself. Okay, so one thing I want to mention before we save this and preview it. If you look at the structure of this code, I've included this space, this space, and when I go inside this tag, I add another additional tab. So I want you to understand that there is a button called tab on your keyboard. When you click on tab, it'll go 7 space bars. Okay, you all know that space bar gives you 1 space like this, and tab basically gives you 7 of those spaces. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Instead of going all of this, if you click tab once, it'll go directly to that spot. So tab is useful for programming where you need to create indentation. So what we're basically doing here is called indentation, which is primarily for readability of the code. You don't need indentation for the browser to still render your code properly. In fact, you don't even need to have any kind of formatting. If you enter all of this code in a single line, it will still work on the browser, but just that we won't be able to read properly. So this indentation is basically a best practice for you to be able to read the code properly, so that other people, when they look at your code, it makes sense for them. That's the only reason we're using indentation. So with that said, I think we are ready. Let's save this, and I'm going to refresh it. Okay, there's something wrong here. By the way, I did not use any reference for me to type this code. I just typed it from my memory because I've used this several times, and I may have made a mistake here. I saved it. By the way, you can also save it using the shortcut Ctrl+S. Okay, so now you see this where you're giving the headings, and then under that we have 3 columns for the different rows. Okay, so this is how the table works. Table basically has a thing called T head, which is the table head where you can provide the heading, and then there's T body, which has the individual rows. So every TR will count as an individual row, and every cell within that is marked by TD tag. And like this, similarly over here also we have this row, TR marking the row of the heading, and then TD marking the cell within that row. And you have this T head, which contains the header, and then the T body, which contains the rows of the table. So this is the essence of a table tag. This is a very basic table tag. Now let's look at the other one. So we also have the image tag. Let's look up the syntax for the image tag. So you have some examples here. It says less than image, and then there's this text within it, and then there's a closing tag. And like I mentioned earlier, that there are some tags that don't require a closing tag. Image is one of them. Image is called a self-closing tag, where you can just specify the opening tag and it'll be fine. You don't have to specify the closing tag. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to our file, and over here I'm just going to create a HR tag separating the table and the image. And here I'm going to say image src equals this, and then alt equals this, like you saw in the W3 schools page. So this is the name of the tag. img is the name of the tag, and within that there are these two things, src and alt. Src stands for source, so here you would have to provide the location of the image that you want to show here, and alt stands for the alternate text. So every image needs to have an alternate text, basically some text that describes the image that you're seeing here. And this is very useful for people who are using screen readers. For example, there are some blind people who may be looking at a web page. They may be able to see browse the internet, and they'll have some text reader that will read the web page for them. So when that text reader is reading that web page, it needs to have that alt text for it to describe the image that they cannot see. So alt tag is very useful in that regard, and it's also a standard practice for you to include alt tag in image. So you should include the alt tag. So here what we're going to do is we're going to specify the location of a certain image in the src, and then we'll be able to see this image in the browser. So let's do that. Let's go here, and over here I have an image. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on the image, go to properties, and here you can see the location of this image. So I'm going to copy this, and you can see that this is the name of the image. So the location and then slash the name of the image has to be there. So I'm going to go here in the src, I'm going to paste this. Here I'm going to add another backslash and then add the name of the image. And now I'm going to add a text describing it. So if you look at the image, this is just a library with some books. So I'm going to type that. And I'm going to save this. I just use a shortcut like I showed you here. You don't have to come here and click save every time. You can just click Ctrl+S. You basically have to hold the Control key down and then click on S again. That will save your file. And now I'm going to refresh this. And you can see here the image is now presented here. Now if you look at this image, there is a small issue. Let me expand this page. So you can see that there is a small issue with this, which is that this image is way too big for this web page. So there is a way to fix this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add another attribute here, width, and I'm going to say 200 px. Here px stands for pixels, and I'm going to save it with a shortcut. And I'm going to refresh it here, and now you see that the image is more appropriate for this page. And you can modify this. You can say 200 pixels or 1000 pixels, and if you refresh it, it will show you that much. Or you can just say 500 pixels, and it will show you that much. You can also say height. So I'm going to save that and then click here. So you can see here that when I specify the height to be 200, the picture looks kind of squished. It doesn't look very good. You can also try doing like 100 pixels. And it'll look even worse. The reason being that you're modifying the aspect ratio of the image. The image would have a certain aspect ratio. Aspect ratio basically means the width of the image divided by the height. So it's a ratio. And when you specify both the height and the width, it will modify the aspect ratio. If you just want to limit the size of the image, you can just specify one of these. You can either specify width like we did before, or you can also specify just the height. Let's try that. So you can see here, when you specify just the height, it looks back to normal. The aspect ratio is restored, and you can also try doing something like 300 pixels, which is more reasonable for this image. So you can see that the image is now rendering properly, and you have these attributes here to specify the various aspects of the image. Here we have the location of the image, which is essential for the image to get rendered properly. And then you have the alternate text, and it's a standard for you to use this when you're using the image tag. And then there's the height, which restricts the size of the image. Now I want to do one small thing here just to show you. I'm going to modify the location of this. Actually, let me just remove this and save it and then refresh it. Now you'll see that it shows the icon for a broken image, okay, but it shows the alternate text. So basically here what has happened is the image that was supposed to be here is missing, but the alternate text gives you an idea of what was that image before it broke. So that is also a function of the alternate text. It gives you an idea as to what image was supposed to be here. So that's it for this video. In the next video, we'll have a closer look at attributes, which are these. So SRC is an attribute, ALT is an attribute, and height is an attribute. So let's have a closer look at these and what the format is for them. And we'll also have a closer look at file paths and the different ways it is possible to specify these file paths. Hope you liked this video. Please like and share it so that others can find it. And also make sure to subscribe to this channel and press the bell icon so that you don't miss out on future videos. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.